Bobhund, reklam.se. I'm sitting here with Incontrol from EG. How are you doing today?
Wish I could say I'm doing better. First round was kind of a walkover. It was an individual that was really just here to watch, and he played kind of as a formality so that he could get a ticket to it. And then I played Minigun. Minigun's a very good Protoss player. I didn't play very well, and had I played well and still lost, I think I'd feel a lot better than I do right now. I didn't play very well, so I'm kind of upset.
Okay. There were a bit of delays. Like, did they affect you in any way, or yeah? What do you think about them?
You know, I feel for him. I think having come from the NASL, I can kind of sympathize with just how difficult it is to put on a production. Of course, this is on a different level than what NASL did, but no, it didn't affect me as a player. It's just something that I've had to deal with in the past, and you kind of rise above it, so it hasn't affected me.
Okay. Talking about NASL, you decided to step out after season 1. There were a lot of things like surrounding like the hype around the NASL that it didn't live up to it, and you were like the face of the whole organization and the tournament. How did that affect you, and do you think that all the critique that you got were like correct?
I think it was a learning experience, so in that sense a lot of the criticism that I received was definitely on point. I think I did jump the gun. I'm not in control of the production. I'm not the guy that runs everything, so for me to make pretty big proclamations and then attach my own name to it was ill-advised. Certainly they being NASL tried to make good on their promises and what they said they would do, but it was for all intents and purposes an amateur attempt, and that's no disrespect to them. It's just a simple fact that they weren't professionals. So there was a lot of mistakes, and because I had put myself out there as the guy who's kind of heralding these words and this new coming of a league, I received a lot of that criticism, and like I said, I think I deserved it. So in retrospect, I would go about it very differently, and that's why it's a learning experience. Pushing forward, I'll definitely be a lot more cautious with what I say, a lot more safeguarded. Still excited about stuff. I can't help but to be excited about stuff, but at the same time, probably not tell people the sky is falling if it's not. So.
Yeah, talking about like people bad-mouthing in esports, like how does it? Is it hard not to get affected about it?
That too is a learning experience. I think it comes with the territory. I think the beautiful thing about StarCraft 2 is that it's growing. I think that's undeniable. It's expanding, it's reaching new people, and a lot of times when it reaches new people, it pushes into new age brackets. You're going to get a lot of intelligent, mature, fanatically awesome people, but you're also going to get people who are still probably very awesome, but at the same time they like to be a little bit more mature and perhaps mean-spirited, and that's how they want to get attention. So the StarCraft 2 community has that vocal mass of people that is very critical of everything, and a lot of times often mean. So of course it is difficult, it's hard. We pour our heart and soul into this. A lot of us pro gamers, this is all we do, this is what we care about, and when we get told really, really nasty things, it's hard, but eventually what's happening is we're learning to ignore it, we're learning to look past it, and we're also learning to appreciate the countless people that are supportive and not give so much attention to the people that aren't. So hopefully in the future we'll all be better at that.
I know that some pros end up like not reading forums anymore because there are so much shit about them that they don't want to read it. You were like a big star on the Team Liquid, so to say. How often do you visit Team Liquid and read forums and stuff?
You know, back when we played Brood War, the forums were kind of our safe place. It's where other like-minded people were talking about the game that we loved, and that's like the only place you could find them because Brood War was such a underground game, so to speak. But now in StarCraft 2, that's not the case. There's so many people that play. We don't need to go to the forum to talk about StarCraft 2. So I think a lot of StarCraft 2 pros are starting to walk away from the forums. And it's not some kind of huge punishment to the community. It's more just that there's so many bad apples, you can't help but to avoid all of them unless you remove yourself from the scene. So yes, I had 26,000 posts on Team Liquid. I was one of the most active guys there. Have I been scaling it back, stepping it down? Yes, I absolutely have, and I think I'll continue to do that. And again, I don't look at it as like a shame on you community. You guys are all, you're ruining something great. I look at it more as just a natural occurrence for how many people this game is touching now.
Yeah. If we go back to IPL 3 now, what do you think about the tournament as a whole, like about the computers and just the training area that we are in right now?
You know, I can't help but to be pretty critical. There's tablecloths on all the tables. Some of the tables are S-shaped, so they're ergonomic to a snake, I suppose, but for us human beings, it's really hard to put a keyboard here and a mouse here, and it's lopsided that way. So it's definitely, much like the NASL, there's a learning experience going on here. I very much so doubt IGN, with all their brain trust and money, that they would ever make these kind of mistakes again. But for right now, it's pretty harsh on the players. There's a lot of downtime for us. There's a lot of walking between 5 different rooms. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes to get to our match. They have great staff. They have fantastic ideas. I love the roving interviews. I love just how much attention to detail there are in a lot of ways. But for me as a player, the experience is not up to par with MLG, which is what I'm used to at this point in time. So IPL has some catching up to do there.
Okay. What do you think about having a StarCraft 2 tournament inside such a big casino in an Atlantic city? Is it a good move, or could IGN spend the money on something else?
I want to be excited about it. It's a new place. It's a new city. This is the kind of place where StarCraft previously hasn't been. But I'm looking at the audience, and perhaps it's because it's a Thursday, but at the same time, they're not filling out this place, and StarCraft 2 has been able to do that in countless events before this. So there's something about Atlantic City, the age restriction, the casino, some mixture of things going on there that's equating to them not getting people, because certainly it's not IGN, certainly it's not IPL. The production's fantastic, the prize pool's there, the players are here, half of Korea's here for God's sakes, but still we don't have the audience, so I think there's that to look at.
Okay. You're currently living in the EG Pro house. How is it that living so close to the same people all the time? And how is living in the pros affecting your play?
They're all like best friends to me, so just in terms of my own personal experience, it's like the greatest time in the world. I get to be with my girlfriend, and at the same time I wake up every day and my job is to play StarCraft 2, so that's phenomenal. As far as how it's affecting my play, I've definitely gotten better, but it's hard for me to overlook that right now there's some kind of mental hiccup in my brain that's really holding me back, and it's certainly not the practice time. I put in that. It's not the practice level. I'm practicing on Europe now, which is a much better level of play, and I have fantastic practice partners. So I'm still kind of soul-searching on that, and hopefully I'll overcome it. But right now I'm very happy with my environment. It's just something in my head.
Okay. Talking a bit about problems. Protoss have been having a lot of problems lately. What do you think that Blizzard needs to do about the game right now? Is this even a balance issue, or people like Protoss have gotten a lot of critique that they don't try new stuff, and what do you think about it?
It's an interesting issue. I think StarCraft 2 is very, very much so affected by the metagame. I think we've jumped the gun a few times where we're not necessarily we as in Protoss players, but we as in StarCraft players have been like, this is broken, this is imbalanced. And then a week later somebody discovers Spanishiwa, if you play this slightly different style, or Red with the third hatch macro and then take a fast third in ZVP. That kind of stuff's really, really powerful, and that's not balance change, that's just different ways of playing the game. So is that an issue that Protoss has right now? I think certainly the Warp Prism has a lot of utility that should be utilized more. I think Speed Warp Prism's huge. I think not trying to play the macro game as much, so maybe a lot more 2-base Protoss type stuff. That could be the key to the result, but at the same time, I can't help but to see what a Ghost does to a late game Protoss army and say, I'm not comfortable saying that's where this game should be with that. I mean, there should be more cost to the Terran there, because why would you ever not go Ghost, right? It just doesn't make sense to not go Ghost. Whereas for the Protoss, we have units where you can now no longer go that because they've done this. So we have our options restricted to us based upon what our opponent's doing, whereas the Terran has freedom to basically build whatever the hell they want, because they will be rewarded for that, and that makes them able to play better.
Okay. So how would you like to change the Ghost, for example?
I think some ways to approach it would be making either Snipe or EMP upgradable, and then having it a fairly expensive upgrade with a pretty long research time, so they can't just pop out and be used for those rushes, which would put a little bit less tension on the Protoss. Other ways to evaluate them would be less health. 100 health Ghosts in a bio ball is extremely ridiculous. Maybe reduce the range of Snipe. I wouldn't say do all those things. I don't think the Ghost is that ridiculous, but I do think that kind of stuff needs to be evaluated.
Okay. Hydra is going to Korea. Are you do you also want to go to Korea?
Yes, I think it's undeniable that in Korea you get the best. The environment I have right now is phenomenal. The only place that would be better than that would be Korea, where it's the same kind of gaming environment, but you're playing a better ladder, you've got access to better training partners, and you're more focused. So I think what I will do is I'll make another pilgrimage there for at least 2 or 3 weeks, and I will get to play with Idra and then hopefully several others. And I'd like to do some casting there as well. So maybe I can do some Code A casting. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. You're currently 25 years old, and one of the older pro gamers, so to say, at least in StarCraft 2.
26, I even get older.
Oh, 26. Oh. Like, how long do you keep you're gonna like be a pro gamer? Because like you have a girlfriend, and maybe you're getting up to the age where you start thinking about like family and children and so on. But
I've definitely thought about it. Anna and I are very serious. We have plans to get married fairly soon. In fact, she oftentimes waves her ring finger at me and says, you know, what's going on? And I keep saying, hang on, time's not right. And it's because we're in tournament season right now. So your question is, when do I think I'll start getting more serious about things other than StarCraft? And I definitely, like, in my mind's eye, I see myself doing both at the same time. I think you'll have to pull me away kicking and screaming from esports. I love it. It's my passion. It's what I want to do, and I feel like I'm doing a good job with it. Not necessarily in tournament results, obviously, but I am doing a good job in everything else, and hopefully the results will follow. So I don't know. I think I could be that White Rod 2.0 where I'm like 36 years old, still going to tournaments and having a blast. But if it does get to a point where it's not feasible to play anymore, I hope to fall back on some kind of esports career, maybe a Sir Scoots type role, or Too Good, you know, as a host or something like that. We'll have to wait and see.
If you imagine that you won't be involved in esports, like you quit in maybe 2 years or something, what would you work with later then?
If I wasn't doing esports, I would be the coolest high school teacher a kid's ever had. I'd be that guy who would literally have stories about traveling the world and playing StarCraft for a living. There'd be a chance some of them would know me or something if StarCraft continued to get bigger. So I would be that. I would live that boring life in a really exciting way, and that's fine with me. I actually have a lot of, like, my passion is to teach. So the fact that I'm able to coach in StarCraft 2 has kind of I've been able to channel that passion. But if I weren't doing StarCraft, I would definitely teach.
Okay. Do you have any like events that you're looking forward to in the near future, and do you have any other random plans that you want to share?
Yeah, you know, I'm a real big competitor. So right now I'm not doing so hot in all these tournaments, and it's easy for someone to look down on that and say, you know, I'm bad, I'm terrible, I don't want to do that anymore. Not me. I want to go to the next one because I want another crack at breaking that. I really do think it's a mental hurdle, and I think when I do kind of click with you can win, you should win, you will win, I think these tournaments will be a hell of a lot more fun for me, so I'm kind of chasing that feeling. So I'm still in the loser bracket here, I'm still qualified, hopefully I can go deep, go far, and this interview will look ironic because later I'll be like, wow, you know, Incontrol took 3rd place, who the hell would have known it? Obviously I'm joking, but MLG Orlando, MLG Providence, these are the kinds of things that I look at and I'm hungry for because I want to go there and improve myself. So that's what I want to do. As far as future projects, we're working with a couple documentary crews that are looking to expose StarCraft 2 and make it more accessible to everyone around the world, and I think that's really awesome, so I'm looking forward to that. And then just improving streaming. I think streaming is kind of the cutting edge new thing to do, and I'm really happy with it.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any finishing words?
Yes, I actually have been following your guys' website for a while. You have very good news. You're kind of clowns. I don't know if that's like what you guys try to do, but you goof around a lot. And I know that you're Swedish, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I want to say hi to all my Swedish fans and the people there. I actually have a huge dream to go to Sweden. Hopefully Anna will never see this interview, but your women are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Of course, I would just go to look, not touch. But thank you to all the Sweden people, and your women are awesome.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for the interview, and goodbye.